I'm in front of Dietrich Bonhoeffer's house here in Berlin, Germany, because Dietrich Bonhoeffer was somebody who stood against the masses. You know, there were many people here in Germany that, quite frankly, were led astray, and as a result of that, there was we had the extermination of the Jewish people. And what you're seeing globally is you're seeing that same spirit, that same sentiment in the minds of people. And so seeing it in New York City while I'm here in Germany made me think enough is enough. I'm going to Dietrich Bonhoeffer's house because men and women need to rise up and take the mantle of integrity and stand in such a time as this. And let me just tell you, Dietrich Bonhoeffer famously said something I'm going to say in a second, but you need to share this broadcast, get the message out. Already, I've been live streaming and it's all-time lowest live stream views I've ever had, because quite frankly, from an algorithmic standpoint, these messages are throttled back and simply suppressed when they need to be the most ubiquitous online. So let me just say this, tap the thumbs up and share this message. Now, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who wrote the book, The Cost of Discipleship. What is the cost? The cost is action. He was a theologian and a preacher in an era where the German church was compromised, and there were 18,000 churches here in Germany at that time. This is in the 40s. And out of the 18,000 churches of Germany, 3,000 of them sided with Dietrich Bonhoeffer to protect the Jewish people, and 3,000 of them actually sided with Hitler, but there were 12,000 that made no decision. And so when we think about this, the quote that Dietrich Bonhoeffer famously said is, "Silence in the face of evil is evil itself. Good will not hold us guiltless. Not to speak is to speak. Not to act is to act." And so right now, there's a convenience we have of just seeing things on our phone. There's a convenience that we have of just kind of going through the motions and just living our lives. And we look through these digital windows that we have called our cell phones, and we think to ourselves, you know what, it's not that big of a deal. You know, these kinds of things happen. Somebody else will deal with it. Somebody else will speak on it. But it's absolutely necessary for us to understand that not making a choice is a choice. Not acting is an action in and of itself. But let me just take it one more step. Not taking a side is taking a side. And so whose side are we on? We're on the side of Jesus Christ. We're on the side of the kingdom of heaven on earth, which says, love your enemies. We're on the side of the kingdom of heaven that says what love looks like in public is justice. And so we have to get our voices out there. We have to make a stand, especially in times like this. You know, as I'm out here outside of Dietrich Bonhoeffer's house, it's just a normal house in a normal neighborhood. But what wasn't normal in his time was integrity. What wasn't normal in his time was having a voice. And so that's why I had to jump on. You guys have to share this broadcast out. You have to get loud with your voice. We saw the violent attacks in Amsterdam. We are seeing what's happening and unfolding in Brooklyn right now. And so just like Dietrich Bonhoeffer, you know, he was engaged and he was planning his life. He was planning on getting married. And within 2 years, the Gestapo here in Germany grabbed him and actually took him away, took him to a camp where he lost his life. He made the ultimate sacrifice for lifting up his voice. And so for us, many of us, we're not even willing to give our time, let alone give our life. We're not willing to give our opinion for the sake of what will other people think. But we have to lift up our voices, especially in times like this. You know, people say, well, history repeats itself. It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to. But what it requires is people who are willing to say, I will be a voice. I will form an alliance, and I will be one that speaks the truth against the dominant voices. Because sometimes apathy and passivity is just another form of evil. And so we cannot be apathetic. We cannot be passive. You know, right here in Berlin, right here in Germany. It is of the utmost importance. I'm standing in front of Dietrich Bonhoeffer's house that we do not remain silent. Please do not see what's happening in Israel and remain silent. Do not see what's happening in the streets of New York City, in the streets of Amsterdam, and remain silent. You know, I'm going to be bold, and I have to do this. I mean, even at the sake of facing persecution myself, but I just landed in Germany. And when I got here in Germany, a dear friend of mine had sent a news article where the statement was made by officials in Germany that it said two things: if you are a queer or if you are a Jew, you must conceal your identity in Islamic neighborhoods. Now, they're saying that in an attempt to keep people safe. But think about living in a society where, as a Jewish person, you're being told that you have to conceal your identity in certain neighborhoods. That is literally how these things started many, many, many decades ago. You know, I was thinking about the fact that just 4 decades before I was born, Dietrich Bonhoeffer lost his life for saying, no, I stand with the Jewish people. And now here we are in Germany, and it's already made international news that the officials are saying in certain Islamic neighborhoods, in Muslim neighborhoods, Muslim-dominated neighborhoods, that the best thing to do is conceal your identity as a Jewish person. That to me does not sound like freedom. That to me does not sound like we've advanced. To me, it sounds like we're going backward. And let me just tell you this as I get ready to come to a close. If you're 7 or 8 minutes in and you haven't shared this, you haven't hit the thumbs up to help the algorithm get this out to reach more people, you are not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. And this is what I'm forcing right now. I'm forcing you to choose. What do you believe about the Jewish people? Do you believe that anti-Semitism is still alive? Do you believe that the forces of anti-Semitism are still at work in this earth? Do you believe that we're fighting not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and rulers in high places, in dark places? Do you believe that or not? Let me just tell you one last thing. I have a friend, we just left Geneva. While we were in Switzerland, I have a friend that traveled to Pakistan, and she showed me a picture on her phone that when she flew from Switzerland to Pakistan on Qatar Airlines, that the map did not have Israel even mentioned on the map. It actually called it Palestinian territories. Now, to erase an entire people on an airline's map, to me, is a travesty. The fact that we are living in a day and time where the map of a major airline can be altered to eliminate an entire country, and should ignite a passion inside of you. What force exists inside of these people? What demonic evil entity, what murderous spirit is alive on the inside of them that it would cause them to recreate a map that eliminates an entire people group? And I'm going to be showing those pictures so that you can see it for yourself and you draw the conclusion. So if you're watching this, and this is, I believe, Dietrich Bonhoeffer can no longer speak. His voice was silenced in a camp that the Gestapo took him away to. But I'm here to be a Bonhoeffer voice. I'm here outside of his house saying that I will speak on behalf of the Jewish people, and I will not remain silent. And that's why I'm asking you to make a decision what you believe. Make a decision, because we're living in an hour where if we do not speak again, we could very well end up in the same place we were in several decades ago. And I keep saying it like that because I want you to understand we're talking decades. We're not talking centuries, hundreds of years ago. We're talking decades. And people say this could never happen. It's happening right now. The seeds are here in the soil, germinating. The ideas are spreading, and it's inactivity, it's passivity. That is the greatest thing that we face, because I believe that you want the preservation of life. I believe that you want the protection of the Jewish people. I believe that you understand these things, but we have to speak now. So I'm asking you to do this. I didn't even realize, talk about divine prophetic timing. Bonhoeffer's movie comes out in just a few days. Support the film. I can't even believe we're here. We didn't even plan this, by the way. We didn't even plan this. Bonhoeffer's movie comes out in just 2 days. Go to bonhoeffer.org. Join the movement. Get your voice out there. Share this message. Get this video out there to as many people as possible. Because if I know anything about the internet, I'm telling you this, the messages that matter most are the ones that get suppressed. They're the ones that don't go viral. So let's do the opposite. Let's get the message out there. Let's support our Jewish friends, our Jewish neighbors. Let's be allies in a time where they need it most. Love you guys so much. Come on, let's do this thing.